which turns into pop culture. Separating the two. What is the popular imagination that expresses itself? It's getting my cold here. I don't need it because I've got a couple of gigs coming up. Imagine the semitones playing and I say, I can't play, guys. What do we do? Maybe that couple of, I've been drinking cognac in a while. I've got to get back to it. It's therapeutic. It's medicinal in my view. Not whiskey, not vodka, none of that. Bleh. Not beer. Cognac. It really is medicinal. I got it from my childhood. My mother would give it to me. I got sick. And masala al uovo is very good for you. If you put it in, eggnog. Italian it's called zabaglione. Zabaglione includes the masala al uovo. It sweetens it up. You don't have to put sugar in. This recently my wife made a couple of desserts like that. I went crazy. I stole them all in the fridge. Where's my dessert? My tongue gone. So I'm gonna kind of summarize a few things. As I said, what makes something popular for all of us? That's entering into the mind. I'll call it the popular imagination, and it's connected to the text, which is the cultural component of it. In over here, for this to become popular, I believe, I don't think I'm off, that you need a mass audience. That's what makes it popular. So there is always a political, economic component. It comes under the banner of a term that comes out of the Frankfurt School, which we studied, and you're studying for your extension. It's called commodity. Yeah. Okay, got it right. The idea is that if you have a culture of the popular, you need the technology, the marketplace, and huge audiences to make it profitable. So, in the theory of commodification, the product is popular but not worthy of being called art, which I think is bold. That's the idea of the popular culture. So you need mass communications. And therefore, if you look at the history of it, it coincides with the growth of popular culture. I'm taking back the idea that it grew in the 1920s. Because in my research on the KISS, I'm convinced that the idea of popular culture, romance literature, singing about it, holding hands under the stars, those idyllic things, that's the popular imagination. That goes back to the medieval. So you need technology, you need a means of spreading it. And I'm going to add one thing here today that then I'm going to discuss. You also need audiences that are relatively homogeneous. They have to be large. With changes in technology, especially digital technologies, I'm not sure that homogeneity is there. And therefore I'm going to claim to you that popular culture, not the popular imagination, we're going to get to that, as we have known it, as certainly as I have known it since a kid, probably old. I'm going to discuss that. Already done. I don't think the internet is a platform. Or it is a platform, but unlike any others that we've had in the past, that unite audiences rather than fragment them. That's my hypothesis. Okay, I'm not gonna argue. It's an opinion. You can agree with it or not, but we are going to discuss it because you are internet users for your culture. I am not. Although I'm not sure I'm not. No, no, I'm not. I will not go on YouTube while I'm having lunch to listen to music. I will still go to the radio. Follow?
But when you check it, you know?
I'm not using it for culture,
Ah.
for popular culture. I'm using it for information. I'm using it for scholarship, for interaction. But I'm not using it to gain entertainment.
You could argue that culture, I mean, the information itself is a form of
Oh,
culture.
absolutely you could. If it's packaged in a certain way. But my emails are not popular culture. Believe me, they're not.
Okay,
Yeah, the test is on tomorrow.
Yes, yeah.
It covers chapters 2 to 3. So, technology, definitely. The technology of mass communications. Yeah, I hate writing. So, print, and you get examples of this. We went through it. Pulp Fiction, a perfect example of how print technology turns narrative into something popular and makes it available cheaply, or what they were called dime novels. You could buy Pulp Fiction for 5 cents. I think it was a different word. Cinema, screen, another, radio, and then later on television. I'm going to stop there, right? Because we're going to do internet. I really see this as a serious paradigm shift in definitions of the topic. I don't go along with my colleagues here. They're all right. Oh yeah, it's all. You know, I'm going to study the internet with the same tools of the past. I don't see it. I can't do it. I've been trying. Yeah. So, what I love about being a teacher is this dialogue that emerges between you and I. Someone says to me, "Why don't you retire?" That's why. You could write all the books you want at home. No, I need ideas. The ideas come from the dialogue. This, when I do retire, everything shuts up, including the computer. And you got any more ideas? Stop. So, I've had this dialogue ongoing because I used to teach an actual course in popular culture in the Anthro department, Anthro 323, and it was easy to discuss up to around 2005, 2006, when social media and YouTube came onto the scene. I can't discuss it anymore with the same yeah, theoretical phrase. It's all gone in my book. Anyway, historically, technology you also need. As I said, you need a marketplace. You need what were called agents. I'm finding out with the semiotics. If I had a famous agent, we'd probably be rich. People like us, eh? They don't have to like it. I'm not sure they do. I think they would, wouldn't they? I think they would like us. I think it's maybe too sloppily romantic, but hey, it's okay. So, you need promotion. Therefore, you need advertising. You need convergence of the media. Radio supporting cinema. Cinema did not support advertising at the beginning, but it sure does now. I haven't gone in a while, but don't they still have
advertisements at the
ads at the beginning? See, the way they did it in the past, they had a tradition, so people could buy things and they would promote the things that they had, like Coca-Cola. When I use Coca-Cola became a famous, really iconic drink of the popular imagination because of cinema. That is popcorn. The hell was the popcorn? Convergence of marketplace economics, marketplace commodification. You need all that. Otherwise, you got folk culture, and then it's fragmented into ethnic communities, other kinds of niche communities. You've got, let's call it, for the lack of a better word, classic culture, whatever that means. I'm putting that in very huge quotation marks. So, for example, and on and on. These niche items. Then the popular imagination. What is it that people like a lot? Well, one of the things is spectacle. So show. Everybody likes to go to the show. That's gotta be an early popular culture. Had a lot of shows. They were called vaudeville. Singing, dancing. So, in a sense, the imagination needs really to express itself in a visual sense. Let's go see this rather than let's go hear it. Let's go live it. Seeing, spectating. You're not the one who knows this stuff. The greatest pop culture analyst of all time is Madonna. Really. Now, scholars are okay, but they're secondary sources and they get involved in ideological debates. Madonna does not. She's a pop culture theorist because she's also a pop culture artist. And in this case, I really do think that the best theorists are the performers of this. And I think that in the 1950s where it was that whole memoirs, not on the memories. The other thing that you need to do is, I think it has to be highly based on themes that are mythological, that we all like. Good versus bad. The relationship between males and females. The differences in age, young people learning from older, all of this stuff, all of these mythological oppositions are there. If they're not there, then it's random culture or random performances. And once in a while we kind of need them, but most of the time we need to connect them to our daily life. The popular, in that sense, the popular imagination is, how are those other people living? And how do I compare to that part there? Not the well, maybe the love thing, case in point. Sitcoms, soap operas, Maury, quiz shows like the Family Feud. This is a part of imagination. Interest in common theme, not by mythological, or at least the expression of the mythological in common everyday artifacts and texts. And the last thing about the popular imagination is that it tends towards the profane, the carnivalesque. We need it, guys. We need to do this. We need to involve our bodies. Denial of the body is a good thing too. In sacred periods of the year, festivities, every once in a while, a good, profane evening does not gonna hurt. If it's ritualistic, as in the form of popular culture, it is neutralized. If it is not, you're in trouble. So in a sense, in one of the themes of popular culture, it has catharsis.
Catharsis.
Oh my heavens, this is getting bad. Cathartic. Effetto catartico. Okay.
Could it be a cyclical thing, like you need night and day, you know, just
I
like
think it's always cyclical.
balance, you know, just like.
It's got to be cyclical. Yeah. I don't see we have to reinvent ourselves constantly. Come on. How can we otherwise we'd develop into units and robots, constantly just calculating problems. But in rediscovering our imagination, the sense of the poetic, that's cyclical. A new thing. Okay, I'm going to stop there, and I'm going to enter into our last dialogue. I miss you guys, I really do. Because other classes are not like this. I can't do this. I got to teach you about phonemes, morphemes, blah. don't get me wrong, I like phonemes and morphemes. I've made a career out of them. But, is popular culture dead or dying? Catherine, you say no.
Yes, absolutely not.
Okay, well, we do need a popular. Okay, and let me rephrase it.
Well, the issue is to what extent it's common versus the niche popular culture.
Okay, that's the, you're right, you hit the nail on the head. My view of keeping things, I'm gonna give you my devil's advocate thing, and then go on. In folk culture, which is ritualistic in events, performances, it's got the same thing. It's spectacle-based. It is, well, not necessarily profane. It can be sacred, but it could have profane elements. Folk culture doesn't morph, doesn't change. It preserves memory, collective memory. It reenacts it. It keeps it going. It has its niche audience. It will not spread. People will look at, for example, I don't know, Sicilian dancing during festivities at the land. Say, how nice, let's do it. Game over. Does not affect you. Popular culture does, because you and I are in the same audience. Think Rocky Horror Picture Show, for example, as an extreme end of this. We shout and scream at the screen together. We may even hold hands. Or when in those rock concerts that I used to go to. Yeah, I went to them. I did. Yeah, and I did have long hair. I did. It was called a happy event. It felt something. Even when my dad, as a kid, on stage, reactions. Yeah, we were in it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I will stop there. Go on.
Me?
Because it's YouTube, it's not going to be Facebook. You're not going to put on performances there.
Well, YouTube is not a good example for me because I can't handle more than 3 minutes of music before I get bored and have to move on.
The choice is enormous.
But
You could go to
it's a
YouTube.
generational thing. It's a generational
Semiotones.
I know, exactly. It's a generational thing in terms of what my own sort of tolerance is for the form of media that I'm responding to. I read. I'm
Convince me
online
that-
all the time when I read stuff, and I'm visual. You know, I mean, I respond to visual images too, very strongly. But it's
Convince
the
me.
YouTube particularly that I cannot
Convince me.
tolerate because it's this little teeny thing there. And
Okay, but convince me that 300 years from now,
Yeah.
there's going to be a stage where people sing and dance.
Okay, let's not do
There won't be.
That's too far.
There won't be. There won't be.
Or 20. Do 20. It's another generation.
Yeah, but that, my point is that
Yeah.
maybe it's run its course.
But,
Yeah.
But there'll be something, well, this is here, right?
Okay, I'm going to go
Something
now.
else will happen.
Okay. You guys are good.
I think because of the internet, the breakdown of popular, people want the more personal now, the more individual circumstances and examples now. They want to be able to relate to it on a more personal level, so people are rebelling against popular. And that's why I think it's phasing out, because this is the whole notion of YouTube and self videos and home videos, and this big barrier that has been crossed with, you know, the novice and the you know, the popular or the God person, you know.
Okay, let me. Okay.
I was just gonna build on that a little bit. I know in certain music scenes now they're returning kind of back to more of the salon style thing. Yeah. So it's like smaller groups in living rooms with a performer and say,
This is
that's becoming a
catching
thing
on.
again. Yeah.
Really? I'm gonna come back to that. Okay, yeah.
But then, to both of those things kind of on the other end, like, and the movies that come out these days are like usually some of the top grossing, some of the like, highest grossing things of all time, right? So people still go out to the movies together and they still see the same movies, and even more of the same movies. And then also with music, like 5 years ago, the major music publications would publish the year in this, and they would have hardly any albums in common. But then, in the last couple of years, or 3 years, they've had more albums in common every year, to the point that the top 10 albums are almost the same on every list, just rearranged in different orders. So I mean, and you know, critics have talked a lot about the end of monoculture and stuff, but now they're kind of talking about the resurgence of monoculture and kind of like a coalescing of all the disparate individual forms of culture and yeah, anyway.
You know, that's interesting, because when I started teaching popular culture years ago, one of the sorry.
Just to say into that, that's part of me started to feel like the idea of a monoculture is almost like wishful thinking in a way. I was reading an article the other day on game shows on television and how people seem to be getting dumber and dumber and not knowing the answers to these popular culture questions, which is a testament to the fragmentation of the culture now, because it is so individualized. Before, like with television and radio, everyone really had the same few channels, so everyone had the same knowledge. But now, because it's so fragmented, how can it be a monoculture?
Yeah, some people don't even go to movies.
I agree with you. Okay. I'm just going to back up a few other things here, which I think are also relevant. I think we're also going to have a sense of spectacle. We're also going to go to movies and soirees on Friday night, for example.
For example.
But there has to be a kind of, and I think that there has an implication, a kind of reason to go. Yes, everybody's going and so on. When I was growing up, there didn't have to be that. The popular was all around. And in fact, I had to go search for the elite, because I was a classroom, and I loved it. I hated everything about the popular anyway, I don't anymore, I can change. I was looking for, where do I get a concert? Before I forget, I'm coming to you, I won't forget. Where do I get to hear Beethoven, Mozart's E minor violin sonata? I would actually look around. So, okay. I don't have to worry anymore, because I don't think there is one culture for everyone now. I think there are, I can get my E minor sonata easily. I can get it on YouTube, for example. Go ahead. Vipasha, right?
Yeah. I feel like the fragmentation of culture kind of speaks to like a difference in the way we socialize as well. Because I feel like now having specific cultural knowledge kind of makes you is a way to bond with is a way to bond with different groups and bond with different cultural generations. So watching the same sort of news TV shows like Breaking Bad and talking about Homeland and community and all that stuff is a good way to bond with other university students. And that way it sort of also helps with the fragmentation, but it kind of people kind of put together.
Yeah, there is a networking system that that was brought about, no doubt in my mind, by Facebook, which was born in a university setting. This is a very good point. In other words, there may be. Okay, I got to think here, guys, because I'm in a dotted with you. My opinion is as good as yours, probably less so. Did I come up with less good? Worse. Oh, God, I'm writing a book on English grammar, guys, for a major publisher. And I suck at speaking English. But, see, we're living... I forgot my train of thought. Any more idea? I still think that we need homogeneous audiences in order for the popular to be worthwhile. That's why I asked the other day, how does YouTube make money? Without money, in other words, here's what I'm saying. I never thought I would say it. I think popular culture is a product of culture. Never thought I would have that. I promise you. I really, really do. Not folk culture, not elite culture, not a product of what we call it. It was popular, but it was not the kind of thing that people spent money on. It was they had patrons, mobility, church or what have you. There's no patrons in the republic. People have to buy your record. They have to buy your books or whatever it is. It could be anything at all. And I don't see it at the beginning as being there anymore. Maybe it's a shift in capitalism. In other words, here, before I forget, a shift in socio-economic and political economic system entails a shift in cultural and socio-semiotic systems. I never thought I would say this. Just, wow. Go ahead.
I don't necessarily know if YouTube needs to make money. It's just a part of that convergence. Like, so you have a popular band, let's say, they'll put their stuff on YouTube. That way their fans can get it quick and easy whenever they want it. But those fans are still going to go to their shows. They're still going to...
But what about YouTube itself? The impresario. You see, in the past, when I played here in Toronto, there would be someone calling me up, can you play tonight at so-and-so? And I'd say, yeah, how much am I getting? He'd say, oh, you get $10. Okay, I'll be there. But there was someone that found the gig, the show, organized it for you, and so on. There is that system there. Here,
did you get money when they put your music on the radio? Like,
no, but they never put your music on.
It's the same thing. If like an artist puts their music on YouTube, they're not expecting money. They're just kind of.
But I understand it's an advertising form. But what I'm saying is that it was organized. Other than there was a system there in place that people went through. I'm not sure it's there anymore. Sorry, someone else? Maybe come to a conclusion. Is the popular culture, in the form that we have known, stage, spectacle, promoting your products as a commodity, hoping people will like it, and then buy it so that it can do something, and then that creates trends, crazes, fads, because it taps into that. But I don't think that's ever going to change. The need for spectacle, we know it. It's going to cinema. I don't think our brain is going to change. It's going to still have archetypes in it. And I think we have a body, and as we injected with Descartes' dream, eliminate the body and we're all safe. It's going to be there. How it's going to be expressed is what I'm asking. I agree with Victoria that we need a monoculture in order for it to occur. I'm saying the same thing about youth culture. It isn't so fragmented that I don't think the gap is there anymore. Again, I never thought I would say it. When I teach my course in youth culture, I've gradually seen the gap disappear. And that means that the music that came out of young people, starting in the 1950s with Elvis Presley and company, is still young people composing, but it's not separate from and music in general. That was condemned with young people expressing their hormones, whatever. Wow. And this has been what? I'd say 1956 is the real beginning with Heartbreak Hotel, which is going to play in March the 28th, and you're going to come and you're going to pay $2 at least. And if you pay $15, I'll be forever grateful. And if we run out of CDs, you still pay $15. Oh God, I was sure never. That's gone. Yeah, there is Justin Bieber and people coming up. These are nano celebrities. They're not part of a cultural homogeneous system that creates convergence, that creates nostalgia later on. I don't know. I don't think it's good. I could be wrong. I want to be. I love popular culture. You have no idea, because it keeps you, how can I say, engaged in recreation within yourself. Being philosophical. I don't know about you. I love reading Aristotle. Don't get me wrong. I really love it. But there are times when I say, you know what? I wouldn't mind reading a nice spicy novel, mystery included, like Pulp Fiction. So,
Well, I certainly don't. Well, I certainly do agree that a monoculture doesn't exist in like our generation to the extent that it used to exist in say like the 50s or 60s. I do think we'll still have like a lingering sense of like nostalgia in other, and still sort of look back at
Before I
some
forget.
common.
Before I forget, I'm going to put nostalgia here. It's a crucial one. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
Like, we will still look back at some common artists, and we'll still have, like, you know, I mean, I think we'll still bond over, like,
Yeah. It was
like
just,
the-
you took it out of my mouth. Harry
like-
Potter may be the one that creates nostalgia.
yeah.
Anything else?
I don't know, we might bond over laughing at Twilight. Like, you know. And mocking it.
Twilight. Oh, those vampire romance
Yeah,
movies.
like, all that stuff. Like,
You would laugh at that, yeah.
oh yeah,
Would you
it's
be
worth it.
the-
It's
Oh,
worth
right.
mocking.
Oh, absolutely. I laugh at a lot of things that occur. It is, but Harry Potter would have a nostalgic effect on it later on.
Yeah, like I'm saying, these sort of things still do exist, and these
Of course they do.
phenomena still happen. I mean, they do
Yeah.
not happen to such an extent, but I don't think it's worthwhile to say, oh my god, popular culture is so dead. Like, I don't think it's fair.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's the
Nostalgia is
model
fair.
of popular culture that we've had has morphed so much that it's going to maybe something else. It may be turning into something else. That's okay.
So we'll still have vestiges of all these things left. We'll still have vestiges of nostalgia. We'll still have vestiges of like this.
We'll have the
effects
popular
of
imagination.
yeah, like
Oh,
popular
absolutely.
imagination and popular
Yeah,
culture.
we'll have the popular. Yeah, exactly. This has produced this Pulp Fiction magazines, sitcoms, and so on up till now. If this is not there anymore, as we're fine, I'm saying, what's next? That's all. I think you're hinting at that it'll be a lot of the same. It'll be fragmented. It has niche audiences, and that's why I keep on asking: how do you do that without the financial fuel that runs it? You know, advertising has always been where the financial fuel is. So that could be still and morph in such a way that it becomes so integrated. It's called branding. With everything that we do that is popular, sports is a classic example. Not so much here but in Europe. You go to a hockey match. Each hockey player is a billboard of advertising. The jerseys, you don't even know who they're playing with for. It's just ads all over. Okay, so it may be that. And our tolerance of that may lead to another form of unification. Believe me, advertising was not wanted in hockey rinks, it was not wanted in cinema, because people who get engaged, and I'm agreeing with Vipasa, nostalgically in something, will say, I don't want it cluttered negatively by ads. It's too pure for me. When I did these ads for the milk, I was extremely happy, because milk to me is garbage. Go ahead, sell it all you want. If people want to drink milk for fun and die as a result, be my guest. But what got to me there was that when I suggested to bring in Beethoven, and they had a cow singing Beethoven, I said, this is where the line ends. If you do this, I'm going to pull back, and I will never help you again. Because it defiles something that's crucial to me. And that's what you're saying. Harry Potter is very crucial to you guys. It's something you grow up with, you associate during, because as I say in my own book there, it's an emotional culture. You can't detach yourself from your upbringing, and it occurs early on in life. That's another thing that I forgot to mention. And I'm doing it now, I'm revising this book. It happens early on. You're engaged in popular activities from childhood, and childhood, therefore, is constructive. Children are not children. They are commodities, in a way. Look who's talking, my God, of all people. In other words, they're there to buy into whatever is, cartoons or whatever is good for them, and then the adult population taps into it and spends it. I call this the juvenilization of culture. It is. It's there. It's everywhere. I don't think I didn't enjoy, what's it called down in Orlando? Disney World or Disneyland? Disney World. I enjoyed it because I had my grandchildren with me. But there were people there who were older than I was. And I said, what the hell are you doing here? Well, we've been coming all our lives. Can't miss our yearly thing. Ooh. My parents would have thought that unthinkable. Never mind undoable, because they have the money. unthinkable. What am I doing in a childhood arena? So there's changes going on. This has been a tremendous dialogue because I have to do a third edition of this book. And it's radically going to be radically different because they also want to bring in YouTube stuff into it. I don't know how to do it, but I'm working with an editor. They want to bring in images. They're going to spend some money on it. And I'm not sure where to go. I may need some help. I may hire someone here as a research assistant. Help me out. Because I don't know where to go look for them. I did before. I knew where to go look for them. So the fact that I don't know where to go look for recent trends is what's making me ask these rhetorical questions. They could be rhetorical. I think you've answered them very well. You know what? You know what I asked a few years ago? I said, does anybody read newspapers anymore? And most people said, no, I get it online. By the way, they still had newspaper stands in that era. I don't see anymore. And everybody in this class, 5 years ago, said to me, oh no, just to hold it, the tactility. I was almost done. The tactility of the thing. I take a sip of coffee. Let me ask you now, anybody here have a physical newspaper?
Two.
Like subscription?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, I mean, read it like on a regular basis. Well, you are, I think, an exception. I, by the way, just subscribed to the Golden Mail yesterday. They phoned me. He said it's free for a year. Bring it on! The newspapers don't make the money by subscriptions, but by ads and numbers. Everyone of those people, everyone said, if I don't get one, I will try to get one. And I think that McLuhan had this word for it. It's called the sensorium. The sensorium. Let me go over it because I think when we were talking about tactility, it made me remind me. We're born with all our senses equally calibrated. Let's assume that there are the 5 senses, right? Seeing, what are they? Touching, tasting, smelling. They're equally calibrated. And we use them all in childhood to grasp the world around us. Literally grasp it, hear it, see it. But the culture in which we are reared may emphasize 1 or 2 of these. In our culture, it's been because of print literacy that, and television, use our eyes, has taken dominance and went up over hearing. So visual culture. Alright. Then he went one step further. He said, however, the other senses need to be also activated. If they're not, again, quoting McLuhan, if you deny tactility, for example, then you have 2 choices. You engage in tactile entertainment, whatever that could be, or you deny it if you have a problem psychologically. And remember, in the 1970s already, in France, it always starts in France, they're a very clever society. They called it touch therapy. People don't touch each other. In Brazil, they don't need it. The statistics show that people touch, they talk hundreds of times per minute. In France, very little. In Britain, no.
I was going to say South America's ties in and they have newspaper and magazine and book stands everywhere.
Okay, to follow up with McLuhan, if you have tactility in your culture, then tactile artifacts will play a role. Thank you for saying that. That's the sensorium. So, the sensorium is involved here. The need to balance all our sensory modes and modalities. I think the internet does that very satisfyingly. It's the word it used today is multimodal. I even get text messages, text messages and emails from my daughter showing me a little video clip of my my granddaughter. That's amazing. See? I can see her have breakfast. I know you find this, to me, that's an amazing fact of the sensorium. I can see her. The only thing that really gets to me is that I feel like touching her head and giving her a kiss, and that doesn't happen. And that leaves me, as Lacuna, void in one of the sensory apparatuses. It brings it down. And so what do? I express it in other ways, creatively in other forms. In fact, he explained it as why some art forms are more dominant in certain eras than others, because in the case of lack of tactility would lead to things like sculpture, being a more common form of art. It's the way that culture compensates for that sensory modality being de-emphasized. How come my English is back? Michelle?
Scientists or psychologists want to get rid of the olfactory bulbs so that people will be smarter. They think that people who are addicted to drugs and not smart, just to say it fast, are using their olfactory old evolutionary senses.
They want to get rid of it?
They think it
That's
could be a way of
control.
making people intelligent, more intelligent,
That's mind control.
making
That's dangerous. No, leave my olfactory sense alone, guys. I'll do it whatever I want. Under the guise of science, this could happen. Be careful of those things. I heard the other day that the religious function, the religious feeling is something happened. People that are religious have a larger frontal cortex. I'm not totally.
that's intelligence.
One of my publishers sent it to me because I'm doing a book on the brain. She says, "What do you think of this kind of research?" And it was published in the journal. And I said, "Oh my heavens!" And in the medieval period, everybody had a large frontal cortex. Are you telling me that we are born to be some be religious and some not? That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Culture has us on a leash. If it is so, let me put it this way, that our frontal lobes, or whatever they're called, get bigger because we are religious, it's because we are religious. And it changes our brain structure and our brain functions. It's culture that does it, upbringing and things of that nature. I tell you, it is American social and human science today is becoming one huge banner called neuroscience. But it's not real scientific neuroscience. It is an interpretive neuroscience. It's taken over from psychology, psychoanalysis, and religion. And it is, and you know what, I see it on television. Well, this is the explanation. Take a lie detector test, or take a DNA test, and so on. Don't you know we have to interpret these things? We can't just say this connects things. Anyway, let's not do that. You know, I'm going to agree that the popular culture, I'm going to think, I got to write this down. Popular culture is not dead. It has morphed in such a way that it will reconstitute itself. I think some of you are hinting at the cycle. Reconstitute itself and will reemerge and bring audiences such as the one that, starts with an
One day.
No, not one day. It's not going to happen. Every faculty on my body. Oh. Remember Shakespeare, what would play years ago? We end up sans eyes, sans teeth, sans everything. What play was it? You know, I got a strong suspicion that Shakespeare lived in Italy for a while. As a Romeo and Juliet, you know the book on this? He has to have read Juliet and Romeo in order to come up with that. There's no way around it in my view, because that, you know, these things, these legends were not freely available. And if he did get a hold of it, he was able to read the top and understand the origins of it. I may be off on a tangent here. I'm not going to say Shakespeare was Italian, but he must have had contact with Italian traditions. You ever come up with things like Othello or Giulietta Romeo and all of these other. Okay, thank you. You're going to have a tough test on Monday. It is tough, but it's okay. I'm telling you, this course here is going to, not because I'm a softie, it's because it's the nature of this course. It's creative. And creativity, I can't evaluate it and bring it down. The only way to look for that is to look for the needle in the haystack and say, oh, I see, you missed a comma here. That's the only way, so don't worry about it. You're going to do well. More importantly is Friday evening at 6:30, right? You know, this is the only time that I'm not joking. When I'm kind of serious, you're showing up. I am taking attendance. I don't know what I get the attendance, but I will look around for you. And I could use some help in setting up and organizing the room, because we need to, depending on how many people come, my guess we're going to have a couple of hundred. That's my guess. So Sadia, who runs the, is going to order some more chairs. So I need people to set it up. So see you Friday. You know, it's right there. It's at the cat's out. Downstairs. It's that new building. It's an old building before. It's a gold ring. And downstairs, I'm going to put a sign outside saying Semiotics. Okay, I'll see you.
Hi, Mr. Denese.
Oh no, it's just a test. So it's only on chapter 23. Is that it? No, I ordered it.
There's no popular culture. There's no popular culture.